Hi, everybody. We're off to a rocky start today. Hi, everybody. This is the TheNonProphets. Once again, the show is brought to you by the Atheist Community of Austin. I'm the host, Jeff D. My co-host is Vic Farrow.
Hello.
And our producer is Russell Glasser.
Hi there.
Who's sitting in for our absent co-host, Mary McManamy.
That would be the gloating Vic Farrow.
Hold still, man. Today's opening music was American Patrol by Glenn Miller. That was a tribute to a vanished America, an America before 1954, when the Pledge of Allegiance was transformed into a pledge of religion. I wanted to have some upbeat, happy music today because this is a time for celebration, and I wanted something patriotic, but, you know, you gotta go back before 54 to start finding the patriotic songs that are just about it being great to be an American and not about snuggling up to religion. We are live June 29, 2002. The Atheist Community of Austin is a non-profit educational organization promoting positive atheism and the separation of church and state. We have weekly meetings Sunday mornings at the Hot Jumbo Bagel Shop at 307 West 5th Street in Austin, Texas at 10:30 a.m., except for the first Sunday of each month when we have our lecture series at 11 a.m. in the Longhorn Room of Fur's Cafeteria at North Cross Mall. The next lecture will be on July 7. The speaker is going to be the Texas Freedom Network Outreach Director, who will be talking about the upcoming school textbook hearings in Texas. And that reminds me, let's do that textbook story who's got the textbook story? Russell, you got it? Let's do that first when we get to news. Hang on, but let me finish the announcements first. ACA board meetings take place at 10 a.m. right before our regular meeting on the second Sunday of every month. If you shop at the Randall's Food Store chain, you can give them our nonprofit organization number, 5158, and 1% of your purchase will automatically be donated to the Atheist Community of Austin. The Godless Gamers meet Monday nights at 7 p.m. here at Glasser Studios. How did that go? I missed the first one here.
What?
Godless Gamers.
Oh, it went great.
Yeah?
We did this puzzle right here.
Oh, you've got a Puzz 3D of the Titanic, yeah.
Yes.
It looks great. All the pieces seem to be in the right place.
And they played Settlers.
Did you try to float it to make sure that it was actually...
It was straight to the bottom.
Settlers of Catan, an excellent board game. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, no, it's missing some pieces.
And everybody said this was a great place to have it. Nice and open.
It is a great place to have it. How big a turnout did you have?
We had about 10 people.
10. That's nice and healthy.
Ish.
Yeah. ACA, huh?
10-ish. Who's the ish?
10-ish. Well, he didn't take an exact count.
Okay.
ACA Happy Hour is at Antonio's near Highway 35 and 183 in Austin every Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. Of course, it was a rollicking time this past Thursday on account of all the news in the news.
Yeehaw!
Yeah. For more information, you can call our voicemail at area code 512-371-2911 or visit the ACA website at www.atheist-community.org. I want to remind everybody listening to the show that if you tune in live when we go out Saturday afternoons from 2 to 3:30 Central Time, if you go to the atheistnetwork.com website and click on the chat link, you can go into a chat room with other people listening to the show and chat with them and ask comments to the show and stuff. I want to welcome everybody who's in the chat room right now. I see B. Cutler, Love of Law, Charles Tabany, L.A. What is that? Who is Lord's...
Lord Z.
Lord Z what?
Reading.
Lord Z Reading, okay? Mythical something?
Prince V doing science stuff.
Prince V doing science stuff. These are some bizarre names we have in there today. I don't recognize a lot of these people. Anyway, welcome to all of you. Okay. Any instances of slurs, defamation, or discrimination against atheists or other non-believers in the U.S. media can be reported to the National Atheist Ombuds by emailing ombuds@atheism.org. Please remember to include as many details as possible in a news source where applicable. Incidents will be reported to participating national and local non-theist organizations who have agreed to distribute press releases regarding the reported subject matter. And this has already come up. I got an email from a listener to our show who remembered that we talk about the ombuds every week, and he hadn't written down the information. I emailed it to him. A local commentator on the news in his area had lashed out against atheists over the Pledge of Allegiance thing.
Oh, sore losers.
Sore losers. Who Killed Goliath? Christian Fundamentalism in the Modern Age. John Bowes has written a book about the fallacies of Christian fundamentalist beliefs and their impact on society. The first 2 chapters are available for a free download from the web at www.rjs-ebooks.com/authors/John_Bose, BOSE.htm. Godless Americans to March on Washington. Just about every political and social cause organization has done it. Gays, blacks, women's, even the women's. And then women's. The women's dem marched on damn Washington. Women, even the Promise Keeper is... Good grief, what is wrong with my lips this morning? Groups of every ideological stripe have spoken out and demanded a seat at the table by mobilizing their supporters for a march or demonstration in our nation's capital. On Saturday, November 2, 2002, Godless Americans, individuals and representatives of the nation's diverse community of non-religious people, will make history and march on Washington. The event will be held on the National Mall on the west side of the U.S. Capitol building from approximately 11 a.m. to 2 or 3 p.m. American Atheists is currently negotiating for the area to get that all arranged. The rally will include speeches from representatives of various atheist, free thought, secular humanist, and other related national, regional, and local organizations. If your group has not heard from American Atheists about this, please contact them and get involved. For more information, plus an endorsement page that you can sign on, go to www.godlessamericans.org. And secularmemorials.org, also from American Atheists, is encouraging all atheist, free thought, rationalist, humanist, and like-minded groups to begin planning secular commemorative events for the September 11, 2002 anniversary. These can include anything from silent observances to participation in other public events. The key word here is public. Once again, that is www.secularmemorials.org. And you know, it seems to me, in light of all the backlash from the Pledge of Allegiance thing, which we'll be talking about shortly, it would be a good idea for atheist organizations to organize secular 4th of July celebrations too.
Yeah,
I'm all for it.
I think that's I'm going to make myself a note, and I think the ACA should do that.
That'd be a great opportunity to spread the idea of patriotism without resorting to religion.
Okay, I'm making a note. Of course, I'm going to be out of town.
Well, there's always next year.
Let's see. Now you can collect past episodes of The Non-Prophets and also an audio version of our sister show, The Atheist Experience, which airs on public access television only in Austin, Texas, in a convenient CD format. Each CD contains a full month's worth of audio from both shows in QuickTime and MP3, plus extra surprises. The CDs are $5 each. Contact atheist@mac.com for info. Okay. It's news time. Russell, why don't you start with that story you had?
Okay. Just finished editing it. I'm really on the ball today.
Well, you're wearing 2 hats, so.
Out of many, the work of 4 respected historians is one of the biggest sellers among American History College textbooks in the United States, but it is not likely to be available to Texas high school students taking advanced placement history. Conservative groups in Texas objected to 2 paragraphs in the nearly 1,000-page text that explained that prostitution was rampant in cattle towns during the late 19th century before the West was fully settled. Why, that makes it sound like every woman west of the Mississippi was a prostitute.
Really?
What is wrong with you people?
Republican chairwoman of the Texas State Board of Education.
Oh, yeah. The ones who want to turn us back into little one-room cabins with a school marm.
And a prostitute.
Yeah, for school marm a day, prostitute at night.
The book says there were 50,000 prostitutes west of the Mississippi. I doubt it, but even if there were, is that something that should be emphasized? Is that an important historical fact?
It's a historical fact. If it's a historical fact,
and
it's a
if
historical
it's a historical fact, I'd say it's important.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because
If you're going to get
that's
a
what facts
comprehensive view
are.
of history, you're going to need all the facts. You can't just turn a blind eye, like Christians love to do.
right, like they did in Charles Dickens' time.
Yeah, turn a blind eye and not see the things you don't want to be there. McCarthyism was there.
Can we not put a happy face on this? Can we not say, hey, it's great we don't have quite so many prostitutes now? Can we say? Can we not say that we've got progress?
I'm sure we have more than 50,000 prostitutes in the West.
Well, but
they were talking about just
not in such a small area.
I'm just saying. If she's against prostitution and she thinks they had a lot then, and that it was more than we have now, so that it's something to be ashamed of, then don't be ashamed of that. Be proud of the situation we're in now. Pick one.
The country started going to hell in the 60s, and anything before the 60s is ipso facto perfect.
Right.
So, if anything...
1954 was a golden year.
We'll get to the 1954 in a minute, guys.
Okay.
There is other news going on besides the Pledge of Allegiance.
The publisher, Pearson Prentice Hall, has quietly withdrawn the book from consideration by the board. Wendy Spiegel, a vice president for communications of the company, said it had another textbook that better fit the state's curriculum. Textbook battles are legendary in Texas, where conservative critics frequently complain of liberal bias, and liberals counter with charges of censorship. The latest round, on July 17th, when the board begins public hearings on which history and social studies books to adopt, promises to be particularly fierce.
Oh, yes, it does.
9 conservative organizations have formed a coalition.
Oh, boy.
I need to cue up that music before I start the show.
Dun, 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 dun. That music?
Recruiting 250 volunteers to vet more than 150 books. The bottom line is that Texas and California are the biggest buyers of textbooks in the country, and what we adopt in Texas is what the rest of the country gets, said Carol Jones, the field director of the Texas chapter of Citizens for a Sound Economy, part of the coalition monitoring books for errors, examples of political bias, omissions of information that it deems offensive, and that it says give the text a liberal slant. The Texas case raises a series of new questions about how to write history. What constitutes an error in a history or science textbook? What facts are central and which can be omitted? Should history books inculcate patriotism and appreciation of free enterprise? And most significantly, who should decide those questions?
Very important question. Who should decide?
Among other things, books were criticized as anti-technology, anti-Christian, and anti-American, and for saying that there was scientific consensus that global warming was changing the Earth's climate.
Oh, man. It's the old Biddy Patrol.
For instance, the Foundation succeeded in having this sentence deleted. Most experts on global warming feel that immediate action should be taken to curb global warming. We are now telling them what to write and what not to write, Mary Helen Berlanga, a Democratic member of the Board of Education, said of authors. The board has 10 Republicans and 5 Democrats.
The board should be consisted of people who actually know what the hell they're talking about, like historians, social scientists.
Not somebody who can say, "Whoa, 50,000 prostitutes, that doesn't sound right."
I would like high school textbooks to be reviewed by people who know what the hell they're talking about in those particular fields. So they can go, well, no, this isn't a particularly correct fact, or this stuff here doesn't really explain something, or this is a good page. And if they can find the book to be crappy, okay, you got a point there. That's what he's talking about.
You know, but fine. These are groups that are concerned about our education. Fine. Well, yeah. But if we're going to have a coalition of 9 organizations trying to stamp out any liberal slant, and they succeed, then what do we got? Then we got only neutral and the right-wing slant.
No, we'll have a right-wing slant heavily. My point is, there won't be anything neutral.
Sure, there could be neutral stuff. Yes, there can. Not every fact has a liberal versus conservative fight over it.
Okay, yeah.
That's neutral.
Yeah.
But what we need is a coalition of just as many organizations that are trying to eradicate the conservative slant. If all we got left is the neutral, I'm a happy man.
Okay.
I can live with that. Unless we don't have. We need, I don't know where these people are. Where are all the liberals who are concerned about being marginalized, that are going to come out of the woodwork and oppose these guys that are trying to marginalize them?
As far as I can tell, anybody who's... Yeah, exactly. As far as I can tell, anybody who's on the liberal side in politics today is in hiding. Because nobody's speaking up. We hear nothing but right-wingers. All television is all right-wing. I don't know where they got this idea that there's a liberal bias in the media. There's nothing but right-wingers on TV right now. You can turn on any show that does any kind of news. It's all right-wing.
Okay, well, so on to our big news story for the week.
What would that be?
Heard any good stories lately?
For the first time ever, a federal appeals court Wednesday declared that the Pledge of Allegiance is unconstitutional because the words "under God" were added by Congress in 1954. Now, here, immediately, we get into the problem with our media, with our news media. Because that's not at all what happened. The Pledge of Allegiance has not been declared unconstitutional. You can't declare the Pledge of Allegiance unconstitutional any more than you can declare Tom Sawyer unconstitutional.
Right. It's not law.
It's just a piece of text. What was declared unconstitutional is a law in Washington State, which required students to recite the oath. Mm-hmm. And that's because the oath has God language in it, and it is unconstitutional for the government to require people to perform religious acts.
And specifically from the text of the decision, in the context of the pledge, the statement that the United States is a nation under God is an endorsement of religion. It is a profession of a religious belief, namely a belief in monotheism.
Yep, exactly.
Directly out of the text of the decision. I have the entire 29-page Ninth Court Appeals decision.
So that's the first sentence from this news story is already a problem. On to sentence number 2. The ruling, if allowed to stand, means school children can no longer recite the pledge, at least in the 9 western states covered by the court. Bullshit.
Yes, that's not true.
Apart from the fact that the judge himself, under pressure, has suspended his ruling. Even when the ruling stood, that's not what was going on. The only thing that couldn't happen in those 9 western states was the government could not require children to take the oath.
No compulsory pledge.
That's right. No compulsory religious practice.
So this is the same
that's
thing
the issue
with school prayer. Well, you're not allowed to say prayers in school. Yes,
bullshit.
You are.
Yes, you are. The only thing that can happen
is compel other people to say a prayer.
Yes. In a 2-1 decision, the 9th U.S. Circuit of Appeals said the phrase amounts to a government endorsement of religion in violation of the Constitution's Establishment Clause, which requires a separation of church and state. Okay. The third sentence is accurate. This is a quote. A profession that we are a nation under God is identical, for Establishment Clause purposes, to a profession that we are a nation under Jesus, a nation under Vishnu, a nation under Zeus, or a nation under no God, because none of these professions can be neutral with respect to religion. Judge Alfred T. Goodwin wrote for the 3-judge panel. Now, immediately, of course,
He also says, go on further that comment.
Yeah.
Quote, rather. The government must pursue a course of complete neutrality towards religion.
Yeah. Now, of course, the right-wingers have been screaming that this horrible liberal Circuit Court of Appeals is, you know, is
do you want to hear
doing bizarre things, right? Just because they're liberals. But this judge that we're quoting is not a liberal.
No.
He was appointed by Richard Nixon.
Right.
So enough of that nonsense.
You want to hear what?
By the way,
some of the
speaking of media slants,
yeah.
I wonder if you went to the CNN website at some point this week and noticed that the graphic they've got illustrating this story is a bunch of doe-eyed little children
doing the pledge. Yes, there was no big cross there. There was a big flag there.
Yeah.
Let's make another thing clear. This ruling does well. No, I don't want to say that yet. I got more later. I'll get into that issue.
Okay.
Let me do a little more of the story, and then let's get some of the reactions. The government had argued that the religious content of one nation under God is minimal. What that means is the phrase "one nation under God" is just a ritual word, the ritual set of words, that it doesn't mean anything. This is exactly the defense that was used to protect the "In God We Trust" comment on money, because there have been court cases calling that unconstitutional. Those court cases failed because the government took the position that "In God We Trust" doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Now that's fine. If they want to declare that "one nation under God" and "In God We Trust" don't mean anything, then they need to be honest about that when we go waving these phrases around.
Right.
And they're not, right? They're saying it doesn't mean anything so they can win their court case, and then they're using it as a hammer to beat little children into the shape of Christians. Go ahead, Vic.
Related to that, I'm reading from the text of the decision.
Yeah.
What to most believers may seem nothing more than a reasonable request that a non-believer respect their religious practices in a school context may appear to the non-believer or dissenter to be an attempt to employ the machinery of the state to enforce a religious orthodoxy.
Yeah. Justice Department lawyer Robert Loeb said, "We are certainly considering seeking further review in the matter," which is to say, the Bush administration wants to fight this. And that's very interesting. They damn well do need to seek further review in that matter, because in all of these reactions that I've heard in the media, all of the negative reactions to this ruling, I haven't heard a single legal argument. Not one. Not even the one I brought up myself a second ago, right? That it doesn't mean anything. They're going to have to resort to the it doesn't mean anything argument, because the fact is, this court is right.
Yeah.
The government cannot be in the business of requiring little children to say that they're under a god. Cannot.
Right. I mean, they always bring up, well, American was founded by Christians, but I mean...
So what? They wrote a constitution that separates religion from government, and there was a reason for it. They knew from experience that once religion got into government, everything went to shit. And they set up a government that kept your personal beliefs personal. You take those home with you. When you come to do the business of the state, you are there to do the business of the state.
Right. You know the problem here? The problem is that these Christians are not keeping their own beliefs personal.
No.
They are taking their beliefs and they are attempting to force them on the rest of the public.
Yes.
That is the cause of the problem.
When they want prayer in school, when they want under God in the Pledge of Allegiance, or if they want to declare that this is a Christian nation, it is solely for the purpose of pushing their religion on other people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. What happened in 1954 was over the bounds, right?
Way over.
It was way over the bounds. But we were freaking out about communism, and so a God comment got put in the oath, right? Yeah. Because communism was equated with atheism, which is completely frickin' stupid, because there's no such connection. All right, so why don't you read some of the reactions that...
Oh, okay.
Would you mind?
I've got a few from some senators, people you expect to know what the hell they're talking about. Well,
surely these senators have reasoned arguments to
they might
to
oppose.
They're not showing already.
What?
The 99-0 vote.
99-0 vote
was it to?
Yeah. Well,
it's a meaningless vote, though. It's not even.
There was a great politically incorrect that night where Bill Maher said 99. They went outside and said the Pledge of Allegiance. Get the fuck back inside and do your job. Don't you have real work to do?
That was the very last episode of Politically Incorrect.
No, that wasn't.
No?
Last night was the last.
Oh, okay.
Well, here's a quote from Senator...
How can that be? This didn't. This would have to have been last night. This news story only broke early this week.
Yeah, it broke like Wednesday. I think.
But if
Wednesday
yesterday
night,
was his last
night,
Friday night, which was his last show.
So it's Thursday night that it came on. Anyway,
Wednesday night it came.
Okay, well, that's neither here nor there.
But he doesn't have a show on Wednesday night. He has a show on Friday nights.
He has a show every
day
of the week.
So
really?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
From
I am corrected.
From Senator Robert Byrd.
I got the last
Democrat from West Virginia.
Okay, here we go.
Democrat from West Virginia, in an impassioned speech on the floor just before the resolution vote, the 99 vote, Byrd said that he is the only remaining member of the Congress who voted for the addition of under God on June 7th of 1954. He warned the judges who declared the Pledge of Allegiance unconstitutional to never come before him because they'll be blackballed. Does that sound like a threat to you?
Deja vu.
I hope.
So he will rule against them if they came before him.
Just simply because
they're those guys.
Just because they're those guys.
Is that how things work in this country?
No.
Or is that just the way it worked back in 1954? Because he's the last one of those nitwits that's still in office.
Yeah, I hope that the Senate will, the same person, I hope that the Senate will waste no time in throwing this back in the face of this stupid judge. Stupid, that's what he is. Stupid. Oh, that's an intelligent quote. Piece of shit, Congressman.
Yeah, there's his legal argument. It's stupid. It's stupid. Okay, dude. And what else you got?
There's more. Senate Majority Leader Trent Lott. Everybody's favorite.
Right. For those of you who still held some desperate hope that the Democrats would, help us, go ahead.
Yeah, well.
I'm sorry. No, this is
Trent Lott's a Republican. This is obviously an unbelievable decision, as far as I'm concerned, and an incorrect ruling, and a stupid ruling.
Stupid! It's stupid! Do you have the quote from, who's the guy, the Democratic leader? Daschle?
Yeah.
Is that who I'm thinking?
I don't have a Daschle quote. Did you have one? I didn't.
No, I don't.
Well, he said something similar.
All right. Well,
I think the Court of Appeals should issue a press release responding to these charges by saying, "I'm rubber, you're glue."
All right. Senator Chuck Grassley, a Republican from Ohio. This decision is so much out of the mainstream of the thinking of Americans and the culture and values that we hold in America that any congressman that voted to take it out would be putting his tenure in Congress in jeopardy in the next election. Another threat.
Right. Well, there you go. But now, what he is saying is that the law has nothing to do with what those congressmen did.
Right.
It has nothing to do with that 99-0 vote. Right?
Yeah.
The law has nothing to do with it. It is entirely a political act to keep themselves in office.
Right.
Period. Has nothing to do with what is lawful and what's not.
Suck up to believers because they're in the majority.
I'll say again, the best thing that has come out of all this is the education that the general public is receiving about where this all came from. I have now encountered several Christians who said, I didn't know that under God was stuck into the Pledge of Allegiance in 1954. They had no clue.
I was talking to a coworker.
But they know now.
They probably thought they said the Pledge of Allegiance at the first Congress.
That's right. That's right. And the thing is that knowledge directly undermines the entire argument that things like that are evidence that we're a Christian nation.
Right.
Right? What it's evidence of is that the Christians will not fucking shut up. That is what it's evidence of. That if you keep screaming and yelling and insisting on having your God pee on our nation until it smells like him, right, like a dog marking its territory, then eventually you'll get a bunch of God-smelling bits in the government.
Yeah.
That does not change the fundamental nature of our nation.
Charles in the chat room says, it's like the Catholic priest saying, we've been molesting children for years, so why all the fuss now?
Exactly.
Let me throw out a couple of websites.
Wait a minute. Let's not.
Okay, don't.
Are you talking about the...
I have a website that for the full text. I'll just put it on the...
Oh, yeah, that's good. Let's do that.
The full text of the court ruling.
In fact, Vic brought in the full text of the court ruling. It's on the internet. It's 29 pages long.
You'll need an Adobe...
But they're kind of small pages, aren't they?
Yeah, it's
like one column.
Like a newspaper column. But it's 29 pages. You need an Adobe Acrobat reader to get it.
Yeah, do you have any...
The last one, yeah.
Are there any bits in there that are worth reading?
Yeah, when you were talking about the claim that the under God is just a minimal statement of God.
Yeah.
Well, in the decision, although the defendants argue that the religious content of one nation under God is minimal, to an atheist or a believer in certain non-Judeo-Christian religions or philosophies, it may reasonably appear to be an attempt to enforce a religious orthodoxy of monotheism, and is therefore impermissible.
There you go.
It's
exactly right.
What the rest of these links up to?
We'll get to those.
Yeah, Russell, will you please read the URL out loud for people listening to the show? Or Vic?
Yeah, but it's pretty long.
It's a long one.
It's worth doing once. It's worth doing once.
HTTP blah blah blah.
//
sfgate, one word, .com/gate/acrobat/2002/06/26/prayer _16423.pdf.
There we go. The case was brought by Michael A. Newdow, a Sacramento atheist who objected because his second-grade daughter was required to recite the pledge at the Elk Grove School District. A federal judge had dismissed his lawsuit. Quote, I'm an American citizen. I don't like my rights infringed upon by my government. Unquote. Newdow called the pledge a, quote, religious idea that certain people don't agree with, unquote. Well, that seems entirely reasonable. The appeals court said that when President Eisenhower signed the legislation inserting under God after the words one nation, he wrote that millions of our school children will daily proclaim in every city and town, every village and rural schoolhouse, the dedication of our nation and our people to the Almighty. That's the Eisenhower quote.
And it is that intention in which the law was, or the under God was inserted into the Pledge of Allegiance that makes it unconstitutional.
Yep. The court noted that the U.S. Supreme Court has said students cannot hold religious invocations at graduations and cannot be compelled to recite the pledge. But when the pledge is recited in a classroom, a student who objects is confronted with an unacceptable choice between participating and protesting.
Yeah.
Although students cannot be forced to participate in recitation of the pledge, the school district is nonetheless conveying a message of state endorsement of a religious belief when it requires public school teachers to recite and lead the recitation of the current form of the pledge. So, right. So I guess the way their law the law that was found unconstitutional, the way that was constructed was the teacher was required to stand up and lead the pledge. The kids don't have to participate,
right?
But that activity is going on in the first place is itself unconstitutional. So that's stronger than I thought.
As a non-believing kid in school, I can sympathize with the position that you are an outsider. That if you don't participate in the prayers or the pledge or any of this stuff that was going on, you can put yourself in a position where you'll be taunted and tormented by other kids.
Yep.
At the behest of their religion. The case was originally thrown or dismissed by a judge.
Right.
But in the decision, they were asking the question, does he have a standing?
Uh-huh.
And it states, Newdow has a standing as a parent to challenge a practice that interferes with his right to direct the religious education of his daughter. The mere enactment of the 1954 Act, in its particular context, constitutes a religious recitation policy that interferes with Newdow's right to direct the religious education of his daughter.
Uh-huh. I have more background on Mr. Newdow. Dr. Newdow.
Yeah.
Turns out.
Dr. Anwar.
Doctor. And again, notice how every one of these stories says, an atheist. An atheist. You don't read stories that say, a Christian.
Right.
Has brought suit against blah-de-blah-de-blah. It says...
That kind of language, though, automatically it's poisoning the well. You make it sound like he's an atheist. Of course you'd expect him to do something so evil.
An atheist says he was trying only to draw a line between church and state and not provoke a national furor when he went to court to challenge the Pledge of Allegiance. 2 years ago, Michael Newdow, a Sacramento doctor who holds a law degree and represented himself, that's very impressive, sued because his second-grade daughter was compelled to listen to her classmates recite the pledge at the Elk Grove School District. On Wednesday, a federal judge declared blah-de-blah. Many people who are upset about this are people who just don't understand, Newdow said Wednesday during an interview at his suburban Sacramento home. People have to consider what if they were in the minority religion and the majority religion was overpowering them. Newdow said he sued the school district and Congress, among others, in an effort to restore the pledge to its pre-1954 version. Congress never intended to force people to worship a religion that they don't believe in when they added the words under God to the pledge, he said. The decision swept Newdow into a media storm. Actually, I think he's wrong there. At least President Johnson clearly did intend that. The decision swept Newdow into a media storm and left his answering machine full of threatening messages. Well, there's that Christian love for you.
Oh, yeah, there's a little
immediately
on CNN talking about Newdow having to put his daughter, his 8-year-old daughter. Okay,
get into that in a second. He wouldn't characterize the threats, saying only that they were personal and scary. Mm-hmm. We never played the death threat here on the show that the ACA received.
Got to it. Yeah, the guy who called up our voicemail and said something to the effect that you wouldn't be an atheist if I had a gun to your head.
Yeah. Did that get played on?
When I have a gun.
When I have a gun to your
Did
head.
that get played on the TV show?
I don't think so.
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
There was a lot of discussion of that.
But he
I
only
personally
got
think we
one.
should have.
He's in the big time now.
Yeah,
yeah.
he's getting them on. His answer machine's full.
Well, wait till after tomorrow's TV show.
Yeah, we'll be getting him tomorrow.
Newdow said his family and daughter have also been threatened because of the suit.
Now, I just have to take exception to this. What has his 8-year-old daughter got to do with your hatred towards him and what he's accomplished? Nothing.
What does what he's done have to do with their hatred toward him?
Well, I mean, see the backlash coming up for
the fact is, this is a bunch of self-important, stuck-up people in the majority who think that because they're in the majority, they have the right to impose their beliefs on all the rest of us, and that anybody who stands against them is a bad person.
Yeah, and that includes sending death threats to an 8-year-old child.
Yeah. No, they are bad people.
Yes,
they are bad people for trying to abuse their position of majority in the first place. They are the bad guys.
And I'd like to interject that I was listening to a Christian radio talk show the other day, which I do out of masochistic tendencies.
Yeah.
You're sick, man!
And there was the talk show host was talking with somebody. They were speculating on all kinds of evil motives that Newdow has, and the guy just sort of flat out said, "Well, I've never met a happy atheist. They're all so full of vitriol and hatred, and just they're just all so miserable."
No, I am a happy guy. I am a really happy guy. The only time I get upset is when some dickweed of a Christian gets all in my face and says that there's something wrong with me because I don't believe in the same invisible man in the sky that he does. You know? I mean, that is why dickweeds like that can say they've never met a happy atheist, because they never make an atheist happy when they talk to them. They always piss atheists off when they meet us, because they won't keep their fucking mouths shut and keep their beliefs to themselves.
Right.
The rest of the time, I'm a happy guy.
Yeah.
I had a great weekend. I'm happy with my job. Can you believe that?
Well, you're
I am
lucky
happy in my job. I'm happy in my marriage, right? I'm happy with my circle of friends.
Yeah.
I'm happy about the latest films that I've seen. I'm happy about a huge number of things.
Yeah.
But every time a Christian decides to get in my face, he's going to piss me off. Because that's what Christianity is about. It's about pissing us off. It's about pissing us off so that we'll get angry, so then they can say, "Whoa. Look how unhappy atheists are." You know what? Fuck you!
Oh, gosh.
I was going to call the show. Yes, I was going to call the show when I heard it, but I was afraid I would do that.
Yeah. Oh, man.
We have every right to be angry at the way we're treated. If we were not angry at the way we were treated, what would that make us? Well, that would make us slaves. That would make us second-class little furtive citizens living between the floorboards of our nation. We have every right to every ounce of our anger. Mm-hmm. Every right.
Goddamn Skippy.
Newdow said his family and daughter have... What? Newdow said his family and daughter have also been threatened because of the suit. He declined to talk about his daughter, saying only that she was in a safe place. Christian love.
Yeah.
Should his suit...
We'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
Should his suit over the pledge reach the Supreme Court on appeal, Newdow said he still plans to represent himself. I've done okay so far, he said.
Yes, he has.
Yes, you have, Mr. Newdow. Thank you very much. Now, I have his website for Dr. Michael Newdow's Restore the Pledge effort. That is, very simply, www.restorethepledge.com. www.restorethepledge.com. And you know of other sites that are basically part of the same
out of the ones that I have
the same goals.
Newdow's site is the best. He actually has a nice detailed history of the pledge. And there's several other things that I liked about it. There are two other sites. One is www.restorethepledge.org, which is very close to newdow's.com. This one, please mute your computer when you program this one because it has this horrible music. It's just disgusting. There's other one about the Pledge of Allegiance is http://secular.ws/pledge. And that one also has some horrible music. So, but they're all sites related to restoring the pledge to its.
Let's all jump on this bandwagon right now. Right now, there are things that we can all do to help to continue this effort, and I want to just jump to that. Laura Sargent in the Atheist Community of Austin emailed everybody in the group with the email addresses of our local representatives and senators. And so I wrote and sent the following letter to Representative Lloyd Doggett, Senator Phil Graham, and Senator Kay Bailey Hutchinson. Now, both of those senators are right-wing assholes who will completely ignore this, except that they will know that there are people that disagree with them, and roughly how many of us there are.
And Graham,
that is
Graham
important.
Won't care 'cause he's out.
Okay. Dear Senator or Representative, please carefully consider this matter before taking any rash action. The Ninth Appellate Court did not declare the pledge unconstitutional. What they declared unconstitutional was a state law which required students to take the pledge. As long as the pledge is treated as optional, there is no constitutional issue. And you know what? I was wrong. I'm going to have to amend this letter. Furthermore, the Ninth Appellate Court did not declare allegiance unconstitutional. The original pledge, before the current religious language was added, does not raise state-church separation issues and would never have received this ruling. American Buddhists and atheists who do not believe in any gods, as well as Hindus who believe in multiple gods, are just as capable of patriotism and allegiance as any other American. The language added to the pledge in 1954 was an overreaction to the communist threat of that era and violates the constitutional rights of any American who's required to take the pledge but does not happen to believe in one particular god. This is an exciting opportunity to restore those rights and renew the welcome of non-monotheistic Americans. Please do your part to explain the important factual details of this issue to the public and help improve our nation by showing that we are capable of learning from our mistakes and making amends. Speaking of mistakes, I do have to change the language in my first paragraph, which I will do, and this letter will be posted at www.atheist-community.org/library/pledgeruling.htm. I urge everybody listening to this show, wait a day, and then download that text and email it to your congressman. It is absolutely vital that they learn that there is a significant portion of our population that thinks this is the right thing to do.
Yeah. Also, letters to representatives is good. Letters to the editor of your paper.
That is also good.
The last I understood was that in political circles, a letter to the editor is worth about 5 votes. So you can take a sort of opinion poll, if you trust that the newspaper that you're writing to is actually going to publish an even amount or a relative amount to what they've got. That write a letter to your editor, write to your senators, congressmen, write to everybody. If you're of the telephone using kind, I'm not. I don't use the phone at all. Call them. We should have had a site for where you could get the information on where you're. I don't have that now. But.
Get involved. Get active. Get your opinion known. Because, we've seen the statistics that say that, 14% of Americans are without religion?
What do you want, a list of links to?
Well, there should be a place to get there should be a link to someplace where you can get the information of where your local congressmen are.
Yeah, I can find that.
Okay.
Find that information. We'll share it with you. Share it with your friends. Share it with your loved ones.
Make a copy and
share it with your coworkers. Let's get the word out. The important thing to remember here is that while only 14% of our nation is right now, according to statistics, without religion, that is largely because that 14% has been silent. Mm-hmm. When the word starts getting out, that figure will grow. It's already grown in the last decade. It doubled.
Yeah. Okay?
It's going to do more than double. We just have to stop being quiet.
Right.
We have to get the word out there that this is a reasonable, valid point of view, that we have arguments that are worth listening to, that being an atheist does not make you evil, does not make you unhappy.
Right.
Except when Christians get all in your face. That there is nothing wrong with being an atheist. It is a completely legitimate point of view.
Right.
When that happens, I expect that figure to triple.
Well, we can hope.
Huh.
That's
I've seen polls where 25% of the people asked said they agreed that under God that it was unconstitutional to require children to take an oath that said under God.
Yeah.
Found it.
All right. Cool.
Okay.
www.senate.gov/contacting.
Ah, there you go.
That's Senate. What about House of Representatives?
Shoot, you want me to think of everything?
Yeah.
No, I just want you to do everything. I thought of that one. All right. So what else do we have more to say about the pledge? Are we done with pledge-related business?
We, I guess, suppose are.
I'm surprised we got through it so quick.
Yeah, no, I was thinking, well, do we need any other stories?
Oh, I got more. I got more.
Oh, yeah?
Christianity has not been inactive during this past week.
All right. So now that I have the entire text, when people start saying, well, yeah, it's unconstitutional to say to pledge, no, I got the paperwork right here.
Yep.
Yeah. Let me do the other one story that I've got.
Okay.
We'll go through because I just got one more.
Yeah, but then you're going to expect me to handle the whole rest of the show?
Yeah, you go ahead. I'm just going to sit back and watch.
House of Representatives. Okay.
Here is a page where you can search for your representative by zip code.
Excellent.
Right.
And that page is?
www.house.gov/writerep. WRITEREP.
Oh, cool.
Excellent. Yeah, folks, contact those people. They are just a bunch of functionaries that will do what they think they will do and say what they think they have to do and say in order to keep their jobs. We have to let them know that if they want to keep their jobs, they've got to take us into consideration. Period.
The address of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit just got posted in the chat room. Do you want that?
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that would be P.O. Box 193939, San Francisco, California, 941193939.
Excellent.
Thank you, Miska.
And that is another place that you can write with your support of this ruling. Because, of course, they've suspended the ruling now because of all the backlash.
Yeah, it's going to be waiting for the...
But I want to say, it's important not to overreact to this incredible backlash that we've been seeing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 99, was it senators?
99-0 for the resolution to stop this.
Wait, do we have 100 senators?
Yeah. You want to know who abstained?
Who?
Jesse Helms.
Jesse Helms
He wasn't
abstained?
there.
He's been out sick for 2 weeks.
Wasn't there.
All right. But let's not overreact to that. It's very similar, in my mind, to what happened with cloning, right?
Yeah.
There's a huge outcry. Everybody agreed, oh, cloning is evil. We can't have human cloning, blah, blah, blah. Same kind of nonsense. But now, a few years later, what's happening? Bush's attempt to get a cloning ban is dead in the water. It ain't going to happen. Political figures are not different from anybody else in that they tend to overreact. Okay, everybody tends to overreact but when there is a big issue like this that everybody's talking about, that is good because people find out the information. They find out that Under God was stuck in the pledge in 54
by behest of the who were those freaks? The Knights of Columbus.
Knights of Columbus.
When people learn that
Catholic wing.
The one big advantage there is to being an atheist is we happen to be right.
Yeah.
Everybody loves to be right.
Yeah.
I think that's largely what drives a lot of religious belief is because it's a way of convincing yourself that you're right. That you're absolutely right about certain things that are important, right? But the difference is atheists don't have that. We don't have that, that faith thing to fall back on.
Right.
To keep beating on until we absolutely convince ourselves that we're correct. We have to actually be correct in order for our arguments to make sense to us.
We don't have a sandbox to go bury our heads in.
And we're right. The information will get out. We are right. We're not just dedicated. We're not merely full of faith that we're right.
Mm-mm.
Right? We're not just sheep following some, invisible sky pixie that's trying to that is supposed to tell us how to behave and what to believe. We are actually right. When the word gets out, more of the population will come over to our side.
Yeah, and I want to hear from people who are religious and do agree that they shouldn't have under God, because there are out there. There's an entire organization.
They call our show occasionally.
Freedom from Religion Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not. I'm thinking of another organization that's largely religious people who are working to keep church and state separated. Americans United.
That's it. United for separation of
church and state. Yeah, big. Anyway.
Yeah. And the other thing is, it is important not to shy away due to fears of a backlash.
Yeah.
Okay? This is exactly the kind of stuff that Europe went through a century ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? This is exactly the kind of stuff. It's gonna be painful. It may well be violent. A lot of people could get hurt. But there's no way that the situation regarding religion in this country is gonna improve without that. Because the Christians are not gonna let go without a fight.
No.
I'm not predicting any particular thing, right? I mean, it may be that their fight is confined to the courtrooms and mudslinging. May well be. But we should not shy away just because it looks like it might be painful. Anything worth having is risky.
Yeah.
Okay? We gotta stick with this.
The National Republican Campaign Committee didn't waste any time in sending out memos to urge Republicans to contact their local school boards and tell them to nullify this decision. How in the fuck is a school board going to nullify a goddamn U.S. court decision? How the hell are they going to do that?
That's another thing we got on our sides. Our opponents are fucking morons.
That hasn't helped us in recent past. I saw George Bush on TV making a statement regarding this, saying, and I don't have the exact quote, but saying that this was an example of why we needed judges who understood that all freedom comes from God.
Uh-huh.
So here's a man who swears he's playing in the middle of the field there and he's trying to help everybody.
Justice does not come from God.
Yeah. Freedom does not come from God. Our freedom comes from a constitution that recognizes, spells out, and protects specific freedoms.
There is a well-known philosophical conundrum, if you will. Farrow's dilemma? Have I pronounced that right? That shows that a God cannot be the source of morality.
Right.
Because if the God is simply making up morality, then moral rules are just made up, and the Christian moral rules then, made up by their God, would be just as made up and arbitrary as any made-up arbitrary rules that anybody else makes up. And then that's their big argument all the time, right? They're saying, if you don't believe in God, then your basis for your morality is arbitrary. Right. But if morality is not arbitrary, if God only knows what's best, only understands some higher source of morality, and is merely passing on that understanding, then it's not coming from God.
No, it's coming from the higher understanding.
That is an insoluble dilemma. And every time a Christian says to you, if you don't believe in a God, then you don't believe in right and wrong, you need to hit him with Farrow's dilemma, which I hope I'm pronouncing correctly.
I've played devil's advocate before.
Yeah.
I said there's one way out of this dilemma.
Yeah.
And that's you can say that there is, in fact, a higher source of morality.
Yeah.
But we're too dumb to understand it, so we need God to tell us.
We're not too dumb to understand it, though.
I don't think we're too dumb to understand it either.
Because let's for a moment embrace the wild concept that there isn't a God, right? Then where do rules of behavior come from? It's just abundantly clear that they come from us making agreements with each other on how to behave for everybody's best interest.
Right.
Yes. And the history of human civilization has been the history of the number of people involved in making those decisions becoming more and more all-encompassing. It used to be the king would say, this will be the law, and you will all do what I say because I am the king. And then it was nations working with each other, right? This king and that king. And they would have to make agreements, and they would then, between them, they would work out stuff that would work for both kings. And then there were nobles, and the nobles had some power, and they had to be included in the decisions, in the legal decisions of the kings, culminating in the Magna Carta, right? Where the nobles in Britain insisted that they be part of that process. And then we had the American Revolution, where we don't have nobles anymore. Our laws are from the people. Everybody's involved now. Each and every one of us is involved in this process, from out of which come the rules of behavior.
And people who want to say that this nation is founded on Christianity should realize that nowhere in the Bible does it ever support the idea that that freedom comes from the people.
Right.
Which is what our country is founded on.
Yeah, the consent of the governed.
Well, okay. Is that enough on the Pledge of Allegiance for today? Top French court rules fetus not living person. Check this out. France's highest court ruled on Tuesday that an unborn fetus does not have the legal status of a living person, overturning a bid by a woman to sue doctors for the death of her child during labor. The decision by the Cour de Cassation, I don't know how to pronounce this French, I'm sorry, means it is impossible to be found guilty of homicide for killing an unborn fetus in France. Lawyers for the woman, Sophie Potonnet, said their only hope was for Parliament to change French law. Now, that's entirely reasonable. It's certainly a bad thing when a woman loses her fetus, right?
Right.
It is a bad thing, and I hope that they have laws in place to make it clear exactly how bad that is and exactly what her recourses are. But it's not murder. Okay. That's it for the good news. I got bad news and I got wackiness.
I got bad news, so let's go with bad news.
I thought you did your story already.
No,
you got more?
I haven't done this one yet.
Oh.
I still got school vouchers.
Yeah.
I thought you did. Okay.
We were still on.
Let me do a couple more because I got small ones. Governor signs Student-Led Message Act. This is from Columbia, and I'm not sure if it's North or South Carolina. Didn't have time to check. Governor Jim Hodges has signed into law a bill that might allow students in public schools to lead their classmates in prayer. The Student-Led Message Act. Isn't it astonishing that they're coming up with these? They're coming up with these laws specifically targeting the things that have been found unconstitutional. Mm-hmm. Right?
Because they've had the majority where they were just able to insert it at will without any question. Now that it's being questioned, they're having to find some other back roads.
Well, yeah. But
they want your children.
They want to make a constitutional amendment that specifically makes the pledge constitutional. Which
because what we have is the Constitution, which establishes the broad rules, right?
Right.
You got free speech. It's in the Constitution. There's nothing to be worried about. But when they find out that free speech is tempered by a concern for state-church separation, then they make a law to be an exception to the principle of free speech.
Maybe this is how all those contradictions stuck into the Bible.
I'm sure this is exactly how.
Anyway, I'm thinking, making an amendment like this...
Well, actually, no. That's the opposite. Because we have the Constitution, which makes sense, and they're just trying to make loopholes.
Right.
With religion, you start with an underlying basis that doesn't make sense, and you're desperately trying to make it make sense.
Right.
Let me read the rest of the damn story.
Go ahead.
The Student-Led Message Act allows school boards to adopt a policy permitting student-led messages at graduation ceremonies and athletic events. Key elements of the policy would be that the student giving the speech be selected by an objective standard such as class rank. Well, that's actually kind of encouraging, because most atheists are better educated than most theists. Not by, a huge amount, but by a clear majority. The message could not be reviewed beforehand by school officials.
No,
So if you did have it,
never fly, because you're going to get that one radical who's going to write a
and then they'll shut it
speech,
down.
And that's going to be the end of it. Yeah.
Charleston Representative Chip Campson says allowing non-religious expressions will also allow religious messages. Campson says the bill is modeled after recent U.S. Supreme Court and Appeals Court decisions.
And there's no way that you can...
what he means is it's designed to exploit loopholes in those decisions.
And there's no way you can prevent the parents from monitoring whatever speech goes on and get in contact with the people who are not supposed to see it.
So you get one speech that says "kill Whitey" or something like that. Like
Kill a white man. Kill a white man. Kill a white man.
Kill the landlord.
Some House members were worried about giving students a 2-minute forum when school officials had no idea what would be said. So okay.
2 minutes is a long time to hear something very uncomfortable.
That is another thing about these loophole laws, right? Is every time...
in the foot.
That's right. Every time they find a loophole, they're either over the line and they force the loophole to be tightened, or they're actually forced into a position where what they're doing isn't wrong. Okay? And when they overstep their bounds and loophole gets tightened, all they're doing is they're squeezing off their own opportunities.
Squeezing on their own nuts.
All right, go ahead, guys.
Okay.
All right, let me take this one. Hey, how would you like to have religion at work? Okay. A bipartisan group of lawmakers is calling for legislation that would give employees who hold strong religious beliefs more rights in the workplace. So us
what do you mean more rights?
Don't have... It goes. I suppose those that don't have religious beliefs are going to have some lesser rights than these ones who do have strong religious beliefs. The Civil Rights Law of 1964 required employers to reasonably accommodate the religious observances of their employees, unless doing so would impose an undue hardship upon the employer.
Okay.
But a 1977 Supreme Court ruling interpreted that to mean that the employers have a low level of responsibility when it comes to accommodating their workers' religious observances. Supporters of the Santorum Carey bill say that the High Court's ruling essentially means that an employer does not have to accommodate an employee's religious observances if doing so would cost the employer even the slightest amount of money or inconvenience. The bill would change this by requiring employers with more than 15 workers to reasonably accommodate the employees' religious practices or observances unless they place a substantial cost or inconvenience to the employer.
Okay. Now, what all is wrong with this?
The fact that any nutcase can now get special treatment by claiming it's his strong religious conviction.
Right.
Like
and
I
suddenly...
was asking you before the show, can I go get a job at a restaurant and then say, I'm sorry, my religion forbids me from handling silverware, and then basically not do my job?
And that was a good point. And in fact, no, under this new law that they're proposing, you would be placing a substantial burden on your employer
because you'd be getting much money.
Because you'd be but you're getting paid for nothing.
Inconveniences.
But here's the difference, okay? In order for under the current law, if you did that, your employer could say, "You're out of here.
Right.
You won't place the silverware. You're out of here." Right? Under the new law, the employer would have a burden of proving that what you were doing was causing him a substantial burden. When the requirement is tiny, then it's easy to supply the proof that it's obstructing his business. When the requirement is bigger, that suddenly puts him in the position of having to prove it.
Well, this civil rights law really is for accommodating religions other than Christianity who have all the holidays locked up in federal holidays.
Well, I'm in favor of that. I think that we need to go through a very painful period of recognizing all religious holidays as national holidays so that nobody will do any work at all. And then they'll realize how insane that is and shut it all down.
Right.
Except the Christian ones.
No,
all of them.
They will.
Once it had to go down, it would have to be all
when they do that, then you've got right. At least there's another opportunity there then to fight it on the basis of religious discrimination.
Supporters of the measures say the setup has made it difficult for employees of faith to fight unfair treatment. They cite examples, a Massachusetts racetrack firing devout Catholics who declined to work on Christmas, Sears refusing to hire Sabbath-observing Jews for jobs as appliance repairmen, Alamo Rent-A-Car firing a Muslim woman who wished to wear a headscarf, and a FedEx prohibiting Rastafarian workers from having long hair.
Can they prohibit them from
But wait a
smoking
minute.
dope on
But wait a minute.
I don't know.
Doesn't each state already have its own rules about what constitutes a fair reason for firing somebody?
Yeah, it varies
Right?
from state to state, too.
Like here in Texas, you don't need a reason.
You're
You don't
fired.
need any reason at all. You don't
You're
like
fired.
I don't like the mole on your nose. You're out of here.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't even have to say that, but I have.
They don't
you know.
even have to give you a reason.
So what would this law do here in Texas? And now, is this going to impose this thing? So suddenly in Texas you can fire anybody you want to unless what they're doing is religious basis? I don't know.
If you were to try to fire somebody, it might provide an angle for them to prevent you from doing that. That would require a really crafty lawyer.
You know, if firing somebody for wearing a headscarf is wrong, that ought to be covered under the basic rules about hiring and firing people, and should not get a special treatment if the headscarf happens to be for religious reasons.
Right. Here's an example that's kind of close to the one you gave, Russell, is that a member of a Sikh religion fought a court battle for years after he refused a management position. He was refused a management position at Domino's Pizza in 1988 because he would not shave his beard for religious reasons. Well, there are health code standards in religion, and hair in your food sort of tends to make people.
Well, a management position is not making the pizzas.
Yeah, but eventually, at some point in a management position, you're going to have your hands in that pizza dough. All right. Now, granted, I have facial hair.
Did you see the end of that story though? It was resolved when Domino's decided to relax
he got $5,000.
And they changed the rules. So that he could be an employee and still have the beard.
Behind this
It had nothing to do with health code violations.
Well, I was just bringing that up as a. But here in this particular article, they bring up because of its renewed sensitivity to religious tolerance in the wake of September 11 terrorist attacks. What the fuck has the terrorist attacks got to do with this at all?
Exactly this. Since the terrorist attacks, people have been flogging their religions much, much more.
Mm-hmm.
And
flaunting.
I meant it in the sense of beating other people with them.
Oh, okay.
And that's getting out of hand, just like it got out of hand back in 1954, right?
Yeah.
When the president signed the addition of Under God to the Pledge of Allegiance. That was over the line, but they didn't do anything about it. And they're trying to pass laws to make it so that rather than telling these people who are getting rabidly religious that they need to behave themselves, instead they want to make a law so it is suddenly okay to simply be rabidly religious. This is incredibly dangerous.
Yes.
Right? This is this is the road to the Taliban.
Mm-hmm. And if you think, if there's some Christian out there that thinks, well, we can never become like that, think again. You're one charismatic leader away from that.
We've been like that.
Yes. I mean,
right?
Become a serious Taliban equivalent.
Look at the Deep South during the KKK.
Yeah, we are. We've been down this road. But today, you are one charismatic leader away from being a Taliban.
Mm-hmm. Let's do another news story.
Sure.
Virginia joins in spitting on atheists.
It's not yours.
What?
Snubbed again.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, it is Russell's turn.
No.
It is Russell's turn. Go ahead, Russell.
All right. Well,
you got the whole. This is the voucher thing, right?
Right. The rest of the religious right has not been inactive while all this backlash was taking place, and I think they kind of used this as a good opportunity to slip this under the door.
Uh-huh.
The Constitution allows public money to underwrite tuition at religious schools as long as parents have a choice among a range of religious and secular schools, the Supreme Court ruled Thursday. The 5-4 ruling, led by the court's conservative majority, further erodes the figurative wall separating church and state and clears a constitutional cloud from school vouchers, an education idea dear to political conservatives and championed by President Bush. Opponents call vouchers a fraud that will only siphon tax money from struggling public schools.
Mm-hmm.
The court endorsed a 6-year-old pilot program in inner-city Cleveland that provides parents a tax-supported education stipend. Parents may use the money to opt out of one of the worst-rated public school systems in the nation. By the way, this is in Ohio. Would this be the same school district that thinks that intelligent design is science?
It's the same state for sure. But there's that last sentence you read. What was that?
Russell, reread your last sentence, please.
The court endorsed a 6-year-old pilot program in inner-city Cleveland that provides parents a tax-supported education stipend.
There was another story that I read that said that a survey of public and private schools showed that there is a serious non-racial equality in private schools. That they are seriously segregated by comparison to public schools. Public schools are under a burden that private schools do not face. And what's going to happen to these poor-performing public schools when money is being siphoned off to already profitable private schools? Did I say that right? Public schools are going to lose money to private schools.
Yeah.
Is that teachers are going to get cut. The one thing that those public schools actually need is what's going to get cut.
Yep.
Right.
Can I read a little bit here?
Go ahead.
Vouchers do not put the government in the unconstitutional position of promoting religion so long as parents make schooling choices for their children and have a wide menu of public, private, or religious schools, the court majority said.
Right.
But here's the problem. Where is the money? I know, but where is the money coming from that will go via these parents' decisions into religious schools? Right. It is coming. No. I mean deeper than that. It's coming from our pockets.
Yes. If you're paying taxes.
Atheists, for example, are paying tax dollars to send Catholics to have the Catholics send their children to Catholic schools. That is what will happen. And that's unconstitutional.
And a more fair way of doing it would be to alleviate the tax burden on people who are sending their children to private schools so that they can use the money that they would have paid in taxes to fund their own children's education in a private school. And
right.
Those who have children or live in places where you have to pay taxes to support public schools continue to support public schools.
We should have federal public schools.
Ooh, that would be cool.
The problem here is that it's state by state, city by city.
Yes.
So a poor city has poor schools, period.
Yes.
Right.
It's bullshit. That is bullshit.
Is one of those things that I think should be federalized.
That should be federalized, and all schools should get the same budget per kid.
Right.
Okay, well, get this. The court majority said the program does not put the government in the unconstitutional position of sponsoring religious indoctrination, even though more than 95% of the vouchers are used to subsidize Catholic or other religious schooling.
Yep.
The dissenting judges said the Cleveland program goes too far towards state-sponsored religion. It does not treat religion neutrally, as Rehnquist contended, wrote Justice David Souter. The majority is also wrong about whether parents have a true choice among schools, Souter wrote for himself and Justices John Paul Stevens, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and Stephen Breyer. There is, in any case, no way to interpret the 96.6% of current voucher money going to religious schools as reflecting a free and genuine choice by the families that apply for the vouchers. Wouldn't have expected that from Souter, actually.
Well.
Yeah, Rehnquist said. And didn't we? I made a rule about food on the side. Rehnquist said, no reasonable observer would think a neutral program of private choice where state aid reaches religious schools only as a result of the numerous independent decisions of private individuals carries with it the imprimatur of government endorsement. But here's the thing. The government endorsement is coming from the fact that the government is saying that fact-based secular education and belief-based theistic indoctrination are the same kind of thing. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The government ought to be saying, look, education is where you teach kids facts that are established facts that you can prove.
Right.
Right? That is what education should be to the government. And when it's that, you simply cannot have religion-based education involved in government funding. It's by saying that a school with religious training is the same as a school without. The government is saying the beliefs are the same as knowledge and facts.
Yeah. And to a religious person, they are knowledge and facts. Belief is a knowledge and a fact. But
then why do they keep falling back on the faith card? Right? Is it either it's faith and you don't know for sure and you just choose to believe, which is fine, you got every right to do that if that's what you want to do, or it's knowledge and you can prove it and you can show a trail of evidence. Okay, those are two different things. Mm-hmm. And when the government says they're the same, the government is endorsing religion.
Yes.
It is elevating religion to the status of truth. And that is not the government's damn business.
Right. A religion is a personal thing. It should remain personal. Mm-hmm. When you go to church, you learn about religion. When you go to school, you should learn about math, science, and English and other languages and things that are, knowledge, things that you might practically use in a day-to-day life.
Yeah. Let's see. Stevens. Justice John Paul Stevens also dissented. He said, whenever we remove a brick from the wall that was designed to separate religion and government, we increase the risk of religious strife and weaken the foundation of our democracy.
Amen.
Absolutely true.
Yes, because you cannot have a multicultural society like this where religion is involved in the government and have peace, because you're never going to be able to decide whose religion gets to be in the government. And no one's ever going to back down.
They don't want a multicultural society.
No,
they want a homogenous society.
That's right. All this crap about values, right? It's gotten way out of hand. Suddenly, values equals, there's one set of beliefs that are the right ones, and everything else is wrong. Mm-hmm. Bullshit. Reverend Barry Lynn of Americans United for the Separation of Church and State, which we talked about before, says, quote, "The Supreme Court has taken a wrecking ball to the wall of separation."
Yep.
When did you say that?
I don't have a when.
Oh.
It's in this story. My version of it.
It was this week.
Yeah, must have been.
Okay.
So, well, that's astonishing. And
so the war goes on. The war for true freedom in America is never ending.
Now, why is this so important? Right?
Well, because
everybody wants to, we're up in arms here about all this. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it would be perfectly okay if we were all religious. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you why.
Go ahead. Yeah, tell me why.
Let's just go with craziness. 34 Christians kidnapped by evil cult. A banned sect that believes Jesus Christ has returned to Earth as a Chinese woman has been accused of kidnapping 34 Christians in a bizarre attempt to gain converts. Shen Yiping, Shen Yiping and Shen Zhanfeng, the founders of China Gospel Fellowship, and 32 of their followers claim they were abducted in April by members of Lightning from the East, a group condemned by Beijing as an evil cult. They were released late last week and yesterday said they had been drugged and subjected to psychological torture. A spokesman said the kidnapped victims had resisted Lightning from the East's attempts at brainwashing. Beijing has rounded up more than 2,000 followers of Lightning from the East, but it has not been able to wipe out the group, which was founded in 1990. Its leader, Zhao Weishan, claims that the second coming of Christ has already taken place in the form of a 30-year-old peasant woman called Deng, who has never been photographed and is shielded from ordinary members of the sect. She is said to have written an apocalyptic addition to the Bible. Okay, so that's the kind of craziness you get with religion. Groups kidnapping other groups to try to get them to believe shit.
Yeah.
Pastor charged with burning woman's feet in healing ritual. Check this out. A Brooklyn pastor and his wife face criminal charges after they allegedly burned and cut a woman's feet during a healing ritual. 42-year-old Junior Mitchell and his wife, 40-year-old Desiree Mitchell, are charged with first-degree assault. Police say the ritual was performed on 32-year-old Charmaine Babb at the Great Deliverance Spiritual Baptist Church in Crown Heights, Brooklyn on June 9th. The Mitchells allegedly cut Babb's feet with razor blades, poured hot wax on them, and set them on fire.
Any idea if there are any photos associated with this story?
I have no idea. I haven't seen one. Because she could not walk, Babb then remained in the church for 9 days until she was taken to Kings County Hospital by ambulance.
9 days with burns and no treatment?
Police say Babb may have to have surgery to amputate part or all of one foot.
You don't get treatment for a burn, it becomes gangrenous. Your feet will
And this is the kind of crap. This is the kind of crap that will get federal funding as education.
Yeah.
Right? These guys set up their own school, and they teach that you can heal somebody by cutting their feet with razor blades, dunking them in wax, and setting them on fire. They will get federal funding. Ugh. If that is not a government endorsement of religion, I don't know what is. Hindu group recommends cow dung against nuclear fallout. A Hindu
You're really worried about that over in India right about now.
A Hindu nationalist organization. Hell yeah. But, the cow dung is probably going to help, right?
And there's plenty of it.
Shut up. Let me hear the story. A Hindu nationalist organization is urging people in India to smear themselves in cow dung in the event of nuclear war. They claim it will protect against radiation burns.
That's got to be at least as effective as those duck and cover videos they were shooting.
Yeah.
But a lot less sanitary.
Exactly.
The Uttar Pradesh Cow Protection Commission also recommends dabbing buildings in cow dung to protect them against nuclear fallout.
You can have a country smeared in shit.
Navyung newspaper reports the commission has come out with the advice as tensions continue with nuclear neighbor Pakistan. Its normal mission is to prevent the slaughter of the mother cow Gau Mata, which Hindus regard as holy, and promotion of cow products like urine and dung for their medical properties. Radheshyam Gupta, a spokesman for the... What? Why is that funny? Radheshyam Gupta, a spokesman for the commission, said, quote, "Even if the enemy carries out the threat to bomb us with nukes, and we do not have to panic. You can fully protect yourselves by covering the roof with cow dung. Applying cow dung paste to the body from head to toe will serve as an extra shield."
It will shield you from other people. That's for sure.
Once again, thanks to the Supreme Court, if these guys had a school in the United States, they could teach little children that they could smear themselves in cow dung, and that would protect against nuclear radiation. And that would qualify as education. That is why it's wrong. Everybody clear on this now?
Yes. What do you see?
Been clear.
I have a couple of more things. You guys used up all your stories. I brought in a lot.
It's okay, we have to start the music in a couple of minutes.
Okay, well, in a couple of minutes you can. Okay.
I figured we talked the whole time on the pledge. So.
Nah, there's only so much to say. It is important to remember that this outcry against the pledge thing is not the only way in which Christians are lashing out against non-Christians in our country. Virginia has reacted to the pledge ruling by mandating posters with "In God We Trust" in every single schoolroom. Mandating. One of the statements from someone who...
Church of State.
One of the statements from someone who pushed for the law says outright that, quote, "It does not violate the consciences of any children who don't agree with that." How's that?
Okay.
Starting Monday, every Virginia school will be required to hang a poster with the words, "In God We Trust," the national motto enacted by Congress in 1956. 1956! It's not a Christian nation.
No. In fact, the motto prior to that was E Pluribus Unum.
That is a Christian gang tag.
Yes.
That is what that is.
Gang tag and everything.
In accordance with a law signed by Governor Mark R. Warner, Democrat, in May. Many school districts, including Loudoun and Fairfax, will use a colorful poster prepared by a nonprofit group, the Family Policy Network, which pushed the Virginia General Assembly to pass the law for the last 2 years. The group, which founder Joe Glover described as, quote, socially conservative and involved in a number of pro-family Christian causes, today will mail out 3,200 posters featuring the words, "In God We Trust," against the background of a waving American flag. Quote, "This is something that is on the minds of most Virginians and Americans. It does not violate the consciences of any children who don't agree with that, and it certainly expresses the broad concern of the public that our faith should be in God," he said. If you live in Virginia, scream and yell, write to your local papers, call your local political leaders, let them know that ain't right. Here's something else that ain't right. County denies access to humanists. Thou shalt not discuss the 10 Commandments in Winchester Hall, the Frederick County Commissioners decreed on Tuesday. This is from Washington. The action prevents the Washington Area Secular Humanists, or WASH, from holding a forum in the county office building's first-floor hearing room about a controversial monument in a Frederick park. The county will try to find an alternative location for the panel discussion and even cover WASH's added costs for the other site. In rejecting the organization's plan, the commissioners said they wanted to avoid the appearance that the county endorsed any views contradicting the validity of the 10 Commandments as a moral code. Quote, "I don't think we could do more to provoke religious divisiveness than to have that discussion taking place in the seat of county government," said Commissioner John L. Thompson, Jr., who led the charge against WASH's request. He's worried about divisiveness, and he's dealing with his concerns about divisiveness by silencing dissenting views. Folks,
Very, very
this
wrong.
is incredibly scary. That is not the way we do things in America.
And if we don't, as atheists, rationalists, non-believing people, speak out and start saying things, it's going to get worse. Because as long as no one hears us and we're not saying anything, they can run roughshod, they being the Christian majority.
That's right.
They can run roughshod over everybody.
Get your opinions out.
Yes.
Let your voices be heard. There are enough of us to make a difference if we all speak up.
Power.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to our show once again. We will leave you with the Glenn Miller tune "American Patrol," which is a fine piece of music with not a scrap of God in it.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.